So I'm delighted to welcome Kristel today to the interview. And Kristel's got a very interesting story. And we're going to learn all about that throughout the interview. But I'm going to let Kristel introduce herself briefly first before we go into the key questions.
Sure. Thanks very much, Steve, for having me. Yes. Hi, everyone. My name's Kristel Del Rosario. I've been running a portfolio career now for the past 5 years at least. My background is in banking and financial services. And throughout that time, I've always had another sideline business as well. So it's very much around my whole philosophy, my whole life plan in terms of spreading the message out there about the need to diversify income and to create a certain lifestyle for ourselves and for others. So that's me really in terms of my portfolio career.
Okay, brilliant. Well, for those of you who know me well, you'll know that I'm really passionate about portfolio careers, and it's my third book, Portfolio Careers, How to Work for Passion, Pleasure and Profit, which I know Kristel
yeah, absolutely. Big fan.
A big fan. Yes, thank you. And that's how we initially met, through some discussions on, I think it was on Insta, about different aspects of portfolio careers. So can you share then how you sort of moved into a portfolio career away from the sort of corporate financial background, which was clearly very challenging?
Yeah, sure. So I think, when I look back when this all started, really, I think probably my journey started probably back in 2012. I was that sort of typical Londoner working long hours in banking. I had that kind of grey pale skin about me, and just not a very good quality of life. And also during that time, unfortunately, I experienced a very sudden loss of as well. I had lost my best friend in a very sudden freak accident, and then a month after, I also lost my father, a very sudden heart attack. So it was around this time that the sort of period of discontent started to rise. So as a result of all these things that were happening to me over a gradual period of time, I would say, that's when I started to explore and started to see outside of what was already really there, and actually it was a period of soul searching for me as well.
Well,
Really.
I think when you experience significant loss, and I know this myself with my late father, my whole career and life goals and vision went out the window. And things suddenly became very insignificant. So I'm sure that had a dramatic impact on yourself in terms of your shift in values, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it still does to this day, really. I mean, that's when you really start to actually go deeper and start to really question, like, what is it that actually makes me happy? Who do I want to spend time with? What do I want to spend most of my time doing? Start to futurize, really. What exactly how do I see my life? What does that exactly look like in tangible format? And for sure, when something sudden happens like that, which is totally unexpected and obviously very close to my heart, and all the external factors that was happening in terms of my professional life, this whole conundrum and culmination really just starts to, you start to question a lot of things. And as I said, there's a lot of soul searching during that period. And through that time, I then started to enlist the help of coaches. I started a journey on personal development. I started to immerse myself in that world, listening to YouTube, books, going to all the events. And through that period of questioning and soul searching, and with the help of coaches as well, and like I'm sure that somebody like yourself as well would also be, you know, very pivotal in terms of shaping somebody's outlook like that. That's when I started to get very clear in terms of my values, which I'd never asked myself, like, well, what does that mean?
Well, most people don't,
exactly.
do they?
Well, no, exactly. And
and
yeah.
what did they tell you, Kristel?
Well, you know, with that's the great thing about having coaches on board, and when you start to really open your eyes and really start to expand your mind, when you start to absorb this other world, yeah, you really see it with another pair of glasses, right? And no, for sure, I got very clear in terms of my personal top 5 values, which, you know, to this day, I still hold, which are health, wealth, success, security, and love. So not necessarily in that order, but I know that I need to feed those values on if not on a daily basis, and certainly on a regular basis in some shape or form. And that is really what makes me happy as a person. And that's how I then go out into the world, and that's how I conduct my professional and personal life as well. So it really does, it forms the basis of everything that's me and everything in the future.
And they are, and you know, there's this saying that health is wealth in itself, isn't it? And without your health, you've got nothing, haven't you? But you've also told me previously, Kristel, about the pressure of women in finance, for instance, which I've heard from other clients, and I you know, I've actually had clients who walked away from 6-figure jobs and huge packages. They literally walked out at lunchtime and never came back because of the pressure of the job. What were the key sort of factors with you? And also, I know IR35, which some people may, if you want to maybe explain what that is as well.
Sure. So I mean, with the women in finance area, I mean, you know, I'd love to say that the conversation and the narrative has moved on over the years, but sadly it hasn't moved on as much as we would like, and there's still a lot of work to be done within the equality within the workplace, and just the way how women are placed still, and the whole conversation about you know, supporting their careers as they themselves go through life changes. And still to this day, it's a very pertinent subject, which from outside of the scope of this, because it's more than just the interview process. There's a lot of structural changes. There's of course unconscious bias. There's a whole big a whole big sphere. But like many other women, when I started to futurize in terms of what I wanted, you know, having a family was very important to me. And I knew that you know, if I'm working ridiculous hours, I mean, really, is that the quality of life that I want? Of course women do that, but really they're running ragged, and this whole notion that you can do it all I don't believe is really possible. So of course you need to enlist the help of others, but you know, to that point, to my point in terms of what exactly is important to me, you know, do I really want it enough to sacrifice X, really? So yeah, that was already part of my life plan, and ultimately really what's what I wanted within myself, within my heart's desires.
So you were taking on these mainly significant contracting roles within the finance sector. And then the IR35 tax regulations are sort of changed quite radically, and that obviously had a huge impact. So do you want to maybe just explain, probably better than I would, what IR35 is exactly, and then the impact that had on your career?
Yeah, I mean, with IR35, it wasn't a new, it's not a new legislation. It's been around, but well, in effect, it came into play, certainly in the private sector. It was more implications in terms of how private companies would engage with individuals like myself who were operating under a limited company. So there are a lot of sort of tax implications really for both sides. So unfortunately, with the banks took a lot of the banks took blanket decisions really to not engage in that fashion anymore. And so yes, I myself unfortunately lost a couple of contracts, which then really forced me to then rethink again in terms of my life plan, what I was aiming to do, because I was actually very happy in terms of moving out of the permanent world into the contracting world, and it at the time it actually worked for me for both sides, I would say. So yes, I guess it's a perfect example really how external factors can really shake you, and how certainly having a portfolio career, all the more reason really to enable you to be more resilient. Yeah, be more resilient when external factors really do have an impact in that way.
Yeah. Now I've known about IR35 since before I started my business nearly 20 years ago, and I know that initially it was much more impacted in the public sector. And similar sort of thing. People started to have issues with how they were going to be engaged with that organisation, and they either had to be a permanent employee or they had to be a freelancer, and it all got very complicated. And then yes, it came more into play in the private sector, and there's still a lot of clouding, haziness is probably the best word, isn't it, around the whole IR35 issue. But yeah, I can understand that in your situation it must have had a huge impact. So you then decided to look at other income streams as well, and of course everyone can see what's behind you. And I must make the point here that it's not for me to be promoting anything, or that I'm in favour of cannabis or anything, but I'm sure there's a lot of intrigue as to about what you're going to share shortly. But before we look at CBD and what's happening in cannabis, let's talk about network marketing, and some people know it as multi-level marketing. Now, I've had a bit of experience of that in my early days of self-employment, and I got involved with a personal development aspect of network marketing because it met with my values and so on. But I know there's lots of different facets to it. So maybe you want to just share, Kristel, how would you describe network marketing maybe, and dispel some of the myths around it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think with network marketing, it's unfortunately it still to this day does have that stigma attached to it. But what is it? Well, basically it's a chance for individuals like myself to start their own business, to leverage over the and have a business using the tools and the support of a wider global company. So the idea really is to create a network of independent distributors, and it's very much centered around leadership training. It's very much around, as you touched on, in terms of personal development. So I think people just need to look beyond the anecdotes, look beyond what they think it is, look beyond the stereotype, because actually when you say
stereotype being pyramid selling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's it. But well, first of all, pyramid selling is illegal, first of all, number one, to say that. And people think they know what it is, but actually they don't when you start to question them. So all I can say is that I would just invite people just to take a look. Take a look at what modern network marketing is right now, and not go on anecdotes from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. It's, we have moved on, fortunately, as an industry. We've still got a lot to do in terms of cleaning up the reputation. I don't think as an industry we've done enough with that. But all I can say is, I would invite people just to take a credible look at it, and not base their opinions on anecdotes.
And what drew you to network marketing, Kristel? What made you gravitate to network marketing? Was it the whole fact that you could integrate it into a portfolio career, or were there other facets as well?
Oh goodness, yeah, good question. I mean, so when I first started this whole journey, back in 2012, as I mentioned, when I started to explore other avenues, I actually started in property. So that was actually my first business, which was brilliant. And to this day, I still do have an involvement with it, but not necessarily as my key focus anymore. So through property, there's a lot of emphasis on personal development as well, through yourself growing as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, in your personal and professional life. And the circles of property are very much linked and intertwined with the circles of network marketing as well. So you will often find that there's overlap between two circles. So through property, yeah, that's how I got introduced to network marketing. And people like Kiyosaki, Branson, that they've all given their endorsements. So that's really where I started to look at other avenues when I started to move away from property as well.
But it also fitted into your lifestyle and life plan, didn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, my ethos is very much around flexibility, around choice, and that's the beauty about network marketing. That's the reason why, not the reason, but very much a popular reason as to why people would turn to network marketing, because of the fact that it does have that flexible option. People do go into it as full-time careers for sure, but then somebody like myself, who wants to be able to keep both hats, it's perfect really, because you work it to your own hours essentially, and you work it around your present commitments. I mean, everyone has, well, not everyone, most people I talk to, they have existing commitments. So for somebody who's got that right mindset and driven and very clear in terms of what they want, it can totally work for you.
So in essence, you're your own boss, yeah, but you're working under somebody else's brand,
yeah,
who's got a lot of support behind them, and you're selling product and creating a team of people. Yes.
Yeah, correct. I mean, there's a whole range of network marketing companies out there. Some are product based, some are service based, but essentially, yes, we are offering a product or a service to individuals.
Yeah, but you're also developing a team of people yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it as well. So I mean, my particular company, we are product based. So there is that option for those who just want to retail, but for those who really have probably more ambitious goals, I would say, for somebody like myself who is very much in terms of business building, team building, that's where the leadership, the mentorship, the coaching, the training comes into play. And that's why you see that a lot of coaches do this as well, because it's complementary to their skill set. So yeah, it is very much centered around your team, and unlike, I guess, a traditional corporate structure where you in effect are under your boss in that traditional sense, the people at the top, so to speak, they're paid to help the people who are underneath them. And that is a key difference, because your success is part of their success. And that's for those who, for those who join credible network marketing companies, you will see that the leaders will work deep in their team to ensure that they are successful, because it ultimately contributes to their individual success.
Yeah. So everybody's success is everybody's success, basically.
Yeah.
So does anybody get paid a salary at all then?
No, you don't. So that's why, when we talk about, who would be successful in this industry, it is very much around those who do have a certain level of ambition. They are self-motivated, they are open-minded people, they're coachable, because I would say up front now that if you are looking for sort of that traditional 9 to 5, and just want to be told what to do, and you kind of just check in and check out, that it probably isn't really the right environment for you. So
it definitely helps, from my experience of it. It definitely helps if you're a great networker, doesn't it?
Yeah, again, that's all part of it, in terms of expanding your network, and that's how we coach and support people in terms of expanding their circle. I mean, I would say right now that a good 75% of the people who I'm working with, I did not have any existing working relationships with them. I met them purely through the different channels that I'm working with. So I think that's one of the things that people often think, oh, I've got quite a small contact list, I've got quite a small social media following, I've got quite a small phone book, but we think, well, no, don't worry, that's just a starting point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, some people, but we go beyond that, we look beyond that, and as a starting point, of course, we most likely will start with your personal contacts, but then after that, you probably be working with people who you never had any contact with previous.
Well, my experience of network marketing is that there's some definite types of people who it suits. People that are very entrepreneurial, very outgoing, great networks, and who are great sellers, but almost sell without selling. They sell on personality. But equally, I've seen people who I would have said couldn't sell ice to an Eskimo, who have been absolutely brilliant. They absolutely flourished in it, and maybe that's because of the personal development aspect, the self-development. So they actually growing as a person helped them to become a better version of themselves, and then and again, I think it really helps if you're aligned to the product. And I got my t-shirt on especially today, do what you love. So I think that links beautifully to where we're at now with CBD and the cannabis market. And if you'd like to share, Kristel, well, what does it stand for? Firstly, CBD, and what's legal, what isn't, and the different health benefits and so on, and why you're attracted to that particular market.
Yeah, sure. So, well, in terms of what CBD, what is it? What does it stand for? So it stands for cannabidiol. So it's from the hemp plant. So I think that's certainly one of the first things to distinguish that. We're not talking about marijuana. We're not talking about sort of sitting around just smoking a joint or anything like that. Like, this is definitely a legal business. Well, hemp's been around for thousands and thousands of years. It's not a new discovery in that sense, but certainly with the opening up of legislation, particularly in North America, with the Farm Bill, that's why you're seeing that there's this new wave from North America to Europe and Asia, and why you're seeing the interest in it.
Well, it's been a huge explosion, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, and I think it's also important to say that outside of the therapeutic benefits of CBD, which we will go on to in a moment, there are thousands of uses for hemp, and sustainability is one of the hot topics right now as well. We've got the COP conference coming up quite soon, right? So in Glasgow, I believe it is. So yeah, people and companies are looking even more at sustainability, and hemp is an alternative material use. So I think that's kind of important to say, really, as to why there is that interest. But yeah, it's a lot to do with the change in legislation, and just people are just becoming more educated and more open-minded to it.
So can you share then, Kristel, what type of benefits you get from the CBD oils, and are there other things other than the oils?
Sure. With CBD, there isn't like a one size fits all as to why somebody would take a look at it. Some people take a look because they have quite serious conditions. Others, they're just looking at it from a general health and well-being point of view. So we do cater for the whole spectrum in that sense. But typically, the reason why somebody would come to me, especially in this climate right now, certainly around mental health, it's really effective in terms of promoting calmness. It can help in terms of sleep. It can help in terms of alleviating pain management as well, and others that they come to it for more serious ailments, which some may be more familiar with the features in the media as well. So yeah, that's part of it. I do have a conversation with people if they are interested in it, because yeah, there isn't like a one size fits all. But the underpinning benefit is very much around keeping the body in balance, and the CBD targets the systems in the body, as opposed to like specific issues. If you're going to take a paracetamol for a headache or something like that, it's not to target specific conditions or issues like that. It is very much around system driven within our bodies.
So it's to help you be more grounded, yeah?
Yeah, very much around promoting balance. It can help with your digestive health, your immune system. It has neuroprotectant qualities, skin health. So yeah, it's as I say, there's appetite as well. Appetite's a big thing. So yeah, it is, and your mental health. So yeah, it's that there, as I say, that there isn't one reason why somebody would take.
I know you're a great fan of yoga and meditation and all that sort of stuff, as I am too. But I've seen a lot of people who involved with yoga teachers, and also people who just do yoga, who've been promoting CBD and the benefits of CBD. So clearly there's some sort of link, a general well-being link, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think with all of these things, it's not a magic bullet. With anything in terms of improving your lifestyle, right? It's a whole 360. So we encourage people to take CBD alongside other tools which are out there, such as coaching, such as yoga, meditation, whatever you feel that would support you in what you need right now. So CBD alongside yoga and meditation, and I do yoga and meditation every morning religiously as part of my personal routine, morning routine, just to set me up for the day, particularly if you've got a lot of things to do. You don't want to be frazzled all the time. So yeah, CBD can certainly enhance your meditative experience around the calmness and keeping the body in balance.
So I think the message I'm getting through here, Kristel, is have an open mind.
Oh yes, for sure. I mean, there is still stigma out there when it comes to CBD. I don't dispute that, but that's part of the education, and that's how we open people's minds up to it. It might be something they want to explore, and we're not here to tell people what to do. It is very much around the education, and we just leave people to make their minds up for themselves.
Okay, brilliant. Now, in terms of your own journey, the next step is soon to happen.
Yeah.
And you're moving into another role where it sounds like you're going to be able to put into play again a lot of your entrepreneurial skills, but within an organization which is going to give you the scope to do that. So your portfolio career is taking another twist.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my goodness, I mean, this is it, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have experienced, particularly during this time, and you may have a plan, but as to whether it actually goes to plan or not is, that's for probably for another session. But I certainly did have a plan. Prior to pre-pandemic days, pre-IR 35 days. But yes, as I say, external factors kind of just took over. But with this new venture that I'm about to commence, that's it. I think that's all part of it, to have that open-mindedness, to embrace opportunities. And I think that's a thing when you are in this world, that actually you spot opportunities, and it may be challenging and a bit scary, but all part of the growth and the personal development, and to actually see, well, that they're actually embracing this. I can bring my entrepreneurial skills to it as well, in a professional capacity in their framework. I think that's really what it's about, really, to be open-minded when opportunities present themselves.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a great place to finish, Kristel. And thanks very much for sharing your story and insights on these different aspects.
Pleasure.
But I'm a firm believer that especially in this crazy, challenging world that we're in, that being opportunistic is absolutely fundamental. And I think that's going to become ever more so. I stuck my neck out earlier in the year and I said 2021 is going to be an absolute boom year for portfolio careers, because people are going to realize that the one job, even one type of self-employed paradigm, they're broken, as you've sort of alluded to, in which case have that bigger safety net, but most importantly, do what you love and develop yourself, become a better person, bring it all together, and then you'll achieve the success that it sounds like you are. So thanks very much, Kristel. An absolute pleasure talking with you, and all the best with your new venture.
Great, thanks very much. And I look forward to more conversations with you all.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers, thanks very much.